Estrangement isn't strange, but it might appear like it to some people. Apparently, Oprah has been talking about estrangement, and so have some others recently, referring to it as a trend, but it's not a trend at all. I think it might appear that way because people are just becoming more comfortable to talk about it now. Estrangement was something that was stigmatized, that was discouraged, that wasn't understood. Why are you making such a big deal about it? Just learn to get along, get over your differences. But estrangement doesn't happen just because you can't get over differences. And as you know, in many of my videos, I like to offer a different perspective. People that we've known all of our lives become strangers. And maybe we become unrecognizable to them. People we no longer associate with. People who have become ghosts of the past. Grieving the loss of someone who's still alive. The stages of grief were already being presented to you before it even happened. And the first one was denial. We deny that this person is as bad as they appear. We gaslight ourselves and other people gaslight us to think that maybe we're the problem. If only we do this or we do that. And then this is where the bargaining stage shows up. Maybe we put up a boundary. We tell ourselves because they're family, we must tolerate this. Or we say we'll just visit them for a short time. We won't talk about certain things. But that doesn't work either, which is when the next stage of grief shows up, which is the anger. We can even include resentment. Why can't I have a parent who is emotionally mature and emotionally available and supportive? They're the reasons why I'm having all these problems in my life. It's because of them that I am the way I am. And then you may move on to the next stage, which is sadness. We can become quite depressed with the way things are in this relationship. We hope it will change, but it never does. To the point where we have nowhere else to go but to accept. To accept that they'll never change. And to accept and come to the realization that I will never be better by continuing on like this. That's the final stage of grief, acceptance. And so you decide to let them go. Whether it's forever or for a period of time, that's often undetermined. But at the time, it feels like it will be forever. And then there comes another series of stages of grief that are there for you to process. Or they're not, because you just went through all that quite consciously, looking back at it all now. It's not a loss. It's a relief. And you trust the process. You accept that not everyone is meant to be in your life forever. Like they say, some for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. There's a poem, it says it's by unknown, but with some digging, I discovered it's a poem by Brian A. Drew Chalker. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. When you figure out which one it is, you will know what to do for each person. When someone is in your life for a reason, it is usually to meet a need you have expressed. They have come to assist you through a difficulty, to provide you with guidance and support, to aid you physically, emotionally, or spiritually. They may seem like a godsend, and they are. They are there for the reason you need them to be. Then without any wrongdoing on your part, or at an inconvenient time, this person will say or do something to bring the relationship to an end. Sometimes they die. Sometimes they walk away. Sometimes they act up and force you to take a stand. What we must realize is that our need has been met. Our desire fulfilled. Their work is done. The prayer you send up has been answered, and now it is time to move on. Some people come into your life for a season because your turn has come to share, grow, or learn. They bring you an experience of peace or make you laugh. They may teach you something you have never done. They usually give you an unbelievable amount of joy. Believe it. It is real, but only for a season. Lifetime relationships teach you lifetime lessons, things you must build upon in order to have a solid emotional foundation. Your job is to accept the lesson, love the person, and put what you have learned to use in all other relationships and areas of your life. It is said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant. Now, this reads as a pretty positive take as to the people that come into our lives for a reason. And I'll ask you to consider other reasons that are not always at first seeming like a godsend, but they are there to help you advance spiritually, emotionally. And the people that come into your life for a season that might not bring you such unbelievable amounts of joy. They may bring you unreasonable amounts of challenge. 'Tis the season. And then those people that are here for a lifetime, teaching us the lifetime lessons. So what's important to note is that you may be the person in someone's life for a reason. And once that has been met, it's your time to go. It could just be for that season that you look back on fondly, not as something that needs to be rekindled. Then those lifetime connections, the ones that might come and go over the years, but are intended to stand the test of time. What looms in the background is rejection, betrayal, abandonment, even injustice. And the perception of those things, especially rejection, is one of the strongest wounds that we will carry. How can a child understand at a young age the rejection they experience from a parent or even from a friend? They don't understand the concept of seasons and reasons, and instead a deep core wound is cut in that fabric of their psyche. As an adult, they might start to notice a pattern that every relationship eventually lands them at the end of the road of rejection. And here's the part where our understanding starts to open up. Our perspective on how our lives are unfolding starts to shift. Because whether you've removed them or they removed you, whether you've just drifted apart or you chose to go no contact, something was happening before all that took place. And you'll notice this once you've landed in the acceptance stage. It's also something that can help move you into acceptance from the sadness of it all. Because sitting in a rejection wound feels terrible. It's painful. It can even be debilitating. The moment it was time for this person to leave your timeline, we'll say, for lack of a better word, a few things started to happen. If they had been that person who praised you before, now they don't even seem to see you. It's like you've become invisible to them. They're no longer invested in who you are as a person. Your interactions with them leave you feeling invisible or in observer mode. You're always left questioning things after each time you spend together. Something didn't seem right. There was something off, something you can't quite put a finger on. And because of that, your consciousness feels ahead of where they are. Have you overstayed your welcome? Have you allowed them to stay longer than they were intended to be in your life for? Because whenever you're misaligned with someone or something, it's going to feel off, even spacey, ungrounded. You might have some out-of-body experiences when you're in their company, or even just an obvious disconnection in energetic alignment. And this is like the final confirmation, because so long as you stay in this connection, it prevents your whole life from moving forward. The hardest part of it all is that these estrangements are happening with the very people who brought us into this world. And so even those connections are not all meant to be forever. And then the longer that we deny that or we hold on to a dead end relationship, the longer our lives stay stuck. These disconnections are extremely unpleasant to go through, but it's like another saying, let them go. And if they come back, it was meant to be. These people that we have in our lives, it's not about control. It's not about making them stay. It's not about an obligation to stay either. If it was a lifetime connection, it will endure the absence. If they never return, it was never a lifetime connection. And the separation, yes, very painful. It was necessary for both individuals to grow. But here's the thing, because of how heartbreaking it is to lose someone, many will not enter into that acceptance stage of grief. They'll probably stay in the previous stages, even denial, but most often anger and resentment, and for many, sadness and depression. But one thing we have to be wary of, if the person comes back somehow, how to know if this return is genuine or if it's part of the disingenuous path that leaves you going against your own truth. You land on a path with them again that wasn't supposed to be, and it sets you off course, out of alignment. It took you back. It got you further away from where you were supposed to be. And this will happen time and time again within those cycles of a trauma bond. Those people that we learned that lesson of what unhealthy relationships are and how detrimental they were to our lives. But then to be sucked back in highlights our innocence, our unwillingness to heed the important lesson that's here for us to learn. It could even be a third party that says, your father is really struggling. You need to reconnect with him. You need to be there for him as a daughter should. It's the right thing to do. Or even the parent directly. I'm going through a hard time. I need your support. I'm sorry for whatever I may have done. I don't even know why you stopped speaking to me. Everyone says you were selfish and just thinking about yourself. But I've been diagnosed with cancer, and I want to see you again. Anytime this door opens, usually it's because you forgot to lock it. Like trying to bury a hatchet, but it's still alive. It'll come back. One thing that is not mentioned in the stages of grief that is exceptional for people experiencing estrangement is guilt. And so, because of guilt, maybe you do enter this door, have a look around, and despite what they've said, as soon as you see them, they may present as exactly the same. Absolutely nothing at all has changed about them. They're still in the same place you left them. And they might even be worse off now. But you're no longer broadcasting the identity that they used to recognize. I had this experience between me and my dad when we saw each other again after 12 years apart. I was in my 40s, on the brink of divorce. I cut my hair short and was a mother to an 8-year-old child that he had never met. When you have shed so much of your old self, the one that was with that people-pleasing energy, you recognize them because they're the same, but they won't recognize you because you're not. They'll even search for that old version of you somehow. Why did you cut your hair? Why are you getting a divorce for? I'm sure you can work it out. I thought you were going to be doing such and such with that career of yours. What happened to that? They try to recreate the old version of you, but you're not it anymore. It's also a clear sign that you've done the work, that your break from this person served its purpose. You opened new doors for yourself. You unstuck yourself. You experienced personal growth and transformation, but they didn't get to see any of that because they were only in your life for a reason. And that reason was to shape you, mold you, give you those inner child wounds, and then leave it all up to you to heal it. But can you heal it with them still around? Because if so, they're still there giving you all those paper cuts, making the healing harder. The reason was not to be here to help you with your healing. It was so they could be here to pass on their old generational cycles and leave it up to you to be the one to clean it up. And so continuing to have their mess around wasn't going to be helpful in the long run. Unless you just wanted to make your life harder, but let's face it, life is already hard enough. What's happening is more than just going no contact. It's breaking through generational cycles. And this is happening in real time. It's more than just setting boundaries. It's recognizing that you're allowed to live a life that is authentically yours and no longer built around pleasing or being what people want you to be or expect you to be. And some will do this very early. Children of divorced parents can quickly identify who the parent is that they align their energy with. And sometimes it's neither. But the parent who supports their uniqueness, their individuality, the one they can tell are here for a lifetime. But in the meantime, they people please the other parent to attend the visitations, honor the access schedules, because they feel the guilt if they don't. They feel the underlying reason. Until enough is enough and they're old enough to break through the mask and the performance, they had to pack up in a little suitcase every weekend to spend time with a parent who doesn't respect their individuality and their emotional needs. The reason this parent is in their lives is to teach them strength, resilience, confidence, and how to stand up for themselves. Naturally, we grow, we evolve, we change, and we transform our identities. And it's not impossible that those changes are likely still aligned with the people in our lives because they are growing, evolving, and changing too. Or they're not. And so then the relationship gets stale. It's old, it's tiring. But is that grounds to go no contact? There's something more when someone gets stale, old, and tiring. It's an energy in them that has become stuck, critical, unchangeable, incapable of openness. And what that relates to is emotional immaturity. The thing with estrangement of any type, intentional or not, whether you lose touch, you just grow apart, you said goodbye, you ghosted them, or you left with nothing more than a goodbye letter. People who once defined a place in your life has now energetically come to an end. Even if physically they still exist in your world. There's 3 phases that you're going to notice. First is the participant. You're active in this dynamic of whatever role it is that you're playing with this person. Then you become an observer. You notice that something is no longer aligned. Something feels off. You're also observing the shift in yourself while the other is getting further away from this mutual path that you used to walk on. And then comes the creator. You make the decision to exit that dynamic so you can move into the next chapter of your own life that they're just no longer a part of. You're allowing your nervous system, your energy, your field of creation to take on a completely new identity. And the thing that is commonly misunderstood is that nothing is wrong. It's just that everything is always changing. And you're allowing change to be part of your life. And let's make this very clear. You're also not being dramatic, like some people might say you are. You're being highly attuned. And estrangement is not rejection. It's a transition. It's redirection. And yes, transitions can be rocky, shaky, and unstable for a while until you're fully in this new reality that you're creating for yourself. Estrangement is not just distance from a person. It's also distance from a former identity, from a generational cycle that you're no longer participating in.